The Supreme Court's overnight decision to halt full SNAP payments for November has thrown millions of households into financial limbo. What began as a federal judge's order for the USDA to fully fund benefits quickly unraveled when the High Court stepped in, citing logistical challenges in moving $4 billion fast enough. The result? A fractured national map of benefit distribution. Some states issued full payments, others sent none, and many delivered only partial support.
Backhand index pointing right. If this information helped you, don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always one step ahead. We break down important updates like this clearly so you're never caught off guard. Join our community, stay informed, and take control of your financial future, starting today. Flexed Biceps Calendar.
States like Wisconsin even overdraft tens of millions through private processors, deepening the fiscal fallout. What's emerging isn't just a benefits delay. It's a crisis exposing deep cracks in how social programs are managed under legal pressure. This sudden disruption has forced beneficiaries into a daily state of uncertainty. With payment status varying by state, recipients are being urged to check their EBT balances regularly, document all communication, and turn to food banks and community services as stopgaps. Vulnerable groups, families with children, the elderly, disabled individuals, are especially at risk. And with legal proceedings ongoing, there's no firm resolution in sight. Whether the issue is resolved through future rulings or emergency legislation, the immediate priority is survival, navigating an unstable system while hoping for clarity in a situation shaped by courtrooms, not kitchens. The Supreme Court has stepped in, and the fallout is already being felt across the country. SNAP recipients, millions of families, seniors, disabled individuals, and unemployed Americans, are now caught in the middle of a legal and bureaucratic standoff that no one saw coming this fast, this suddenly, or this chaotically. What started as a court order to fund full November SNAP benefits has now spiraled into a nationwide crisis marked by uncertainty, inconsistency, and a real risk of food insecurity. Here's what we know. A federal judge ruled that the USDA must issue full November benefits. That decision was supposed to bring relief. The USDA agreed to comply. But then, in an overnight reversal, the Supreme Court blocked that funding, citing that the $4 billion needed couldn't be released quickly enough under current federal procedures. Just like that, what should have been guaranteed support turned into confusion, and for many, silence. The impact was immediate. Some states, moving quickly after the district court's ruling, already processed and sent out full benefits. Others halted distribution entirely after the Supreme Court ruling. And then there's a third group, states caught in the middle, where partial benefits were sent based on old calculations or where state administrators were left unsure of what to do next. There's no national consistency, no uniformity, and no clear answers. This isn't just about delays, it's about disruption. In places like Wisconsin, the chaos has escalated further. Their processors, operating under private systems, allowed payments to go through based on the district court's original ruling. Now, after the Supreme Court blocked the funds, Wisconsin's SNAP program has overdrafted its accounts by tens of millions of dollars. These are not hypothetical problems. These are real numbers, real deficits, and real fiscal crises looming in state budgets. Someone will eventually have to cover that cost. Whether that's the federal government or the state remains to be seen. But either way, it creates a dangerous precedent, where legal confusion forces states to act without clear federal backing and millions of low-income Americans are left wondering if they'll have food on the table next month. And here's the even harder truth. This could extend into December. Could stretch into January. Because right now, there's no guarantee that emergency funding, judicial clarification, or legislative action will happen fast enough. What we have is a stopgap decision with no long-term plan. And the people paying the price. The ones who rely on these benefits just to eat. SNAP is not a luxury. For many, it is the only thing standing between their family and hunger. But now, because of legal and administrative chaos, that lifeline is being choked by indecision. And what's worse, there's no consistency across the states. You could live in one state and receive your full benefit, while your friend in another state got nothing. This isn't a policy debate anymore. It's a direct impact on real people with bills due today and empty fridges right now. That's why SNAP recipients are being urged to monitor their EBT balances daily. Don't assume anything. Don't wait for a notice. Check your balance yourself. Document every change. Keep a record of when benefits are posted, how much is there, and any communication from your state agency. If there's an issue, you'll need those records. Because in this legal fog, there's no telling who might be responsible for back pay, corrections, or missed deposits. Also, seek out local food banks, school meal programs, churches, and mutual aid networks in your community. If your benefits are delayed, you're not alone. And there is help available. It may not make up the full amount, but it can buy time. Families with children, seniors on fixed incomes, disabled individuals, and those who lost jobs, these groups are hit the hardest right now. They need resources immediately, not legal explanations. Don't wait for the system to fix itself. Reach out, get connected, and stay informed. This crisis also raises a deeper issue: the systemic vulnerability of SNAP's administration. When a single court ruling can throw the entire national benefit structure into chaos overnight, something is broken. When states are allowed to overdraft benefits without federal backing because private processors authorize payments under outdated guidance, something is broken. And when there's no centralized, uniform communication to tell recipients what's happening and why their benefits have vanished, something is deeply broken. SNAP is a federally funded but state-administered program. That patchwork system is being exposed right now. Every state handles it differently. Every processor follows different procedures. And when emergency situations arise, there's no single authority or infrastructure ready to respond. The result? Yes. Delays. And families going hungry while lawyers argue. If there is one takeaway from this situation, it's that preparedness is no longer optional. It's essential. Every recipient must take their own precautions. Check your balance. Document activity. Sign up for text alerts from your local agency if possible. Call the SNAP hotline in your state. Keep paper records. Screenshot communications. And most importantly, have a backup food plan. No one should have to do that. But right now, with this level of uncertainty, it's the only protection some people have. There's also a growing conversation about who's going to cover the overdrafts. States that issued full benefits based on a ruling that was later blocked now face enormous deficits. Wisconsin is one example, but others may follow. And those deficits don't just disappear. Will the federal government step in? Will taxpayers cover the gap? Or will states be forced to make cuts elsewhere, maybe even in future SNAP disbursements, to balance the books? That possibility is real. And if it happens, this won't be a one-month crisis. It'll trigger a domino effect that could weaken the program for months, or years. Austerity measures, funding shortfalls, legislative restrictions, these are all on the table. And once again, the most vulnerable populations will feel the consequences first. This is also a warning shot for future emergencies. If this is how the system responds to a single funding disruption, what happens in a larger crisis? What happens during a recession? During a government shutdown? During a natural disaster? If we don't fix the foundation of how SNAP is administered, this kind of chaos could repeat again and again. There needs to be reform, oversight, and transparency. A standardized process. Centralized communication. A legal mechanism to prevent conflicting rulings from paralyzing national programs. And most of all, accountability. Because no one should have to question whether or not they'll be able to feed their children because of a court ruling they never even heard about. For now, the best thing recipients can do is remain informed and vigilant. This situation is still developing. Court rulings could shift. Emergency funding could be passed. But those are maybes. What's certain is that preparedness matters. Checking balances daily. Documenting everything. Connecting with community support. Staying alert for real-time updates. These are the actions that will make the difference between stability and crisis in the days ahead. And if you're not affected by this, if you're watching this and you don't receive SNAP, this is still your issue. Because this is about how the country treats its most vulnerable, how it handles emergencies, how much chaos we're willing to accept in the systems that feed people. This is a wake-up call. If this helped you, hit the like button. Share it with someone who needs to know. Drop a comment if you've been affected. Tell your story. And subscribe to stay updated as this situation evolves. Check your EBT. Document everything. Reach out for help. Demand accountability. We'll be here with updates, because the people deserve the truth, not silence. The Supreme Court's overnight intervention in the SNAP benefits crisis wasn't just a legal decision. It was a gut punch to millions of low-income Americans. It turned what should have been a routine, federally funded safety net into a fragmented, unstable mess. This isn't politics as usual. This is food on the table or not. And for too many families, it's quickly becoming not. People woke up expecting their November benefits. Many checked their EBT cards and saw nothing. Others saw partial payments. Some, especially in states like Wisconsin, saw full benefits, but only because their processors moved faster than the Supreme Court ruling could reach them. Now those states are sitting on massive overdrafts, scrambling to answer questions they don't have the money or legal backing to resolve. Let's not sugarcoat this. When states like Wisconsin release tens of millions of dollars without final federal approval, that money doesn't come from thin air. It's debt. And eventually, someone will pay for it. Either the federal government reimburses them through emergency action, or the states are forced to swallow the shortfall. That means cutbacks, budget crises, and possibly even clawbacks in future benefit cycles. There is no world in which this ends cleanly. The legal process alone guarantees more delays. The only certainty is that people will suffer in the meantime. The poorest Americans, families already teetering on the edge, are being forced into uncertainty because of a policy bottleneck they didn't create and can't control. The truth is, this didn't have to happen. The USDA agreed to release full November SNAP benefits after the district court's ruling. That agreement provided clarity, even if only temporarily. But when the Supreme Court blocked that agreement, citing logistical concerns over how to disburse $4 billion quickly, they didn't just halt the money. They pulled the rug out from under the people who were depending on it. Not next week. Not next month. Right now. It's worth repeating. This isn't theoretical. This isn't about political ideologies or legal precedent. This is about food. About whether people have it or they don't. And the inconsistency is brutal. One state processes full benefits. Another halts everything. One family receives $700. Another nothing. No guidance. No timeline. No explanation. Just silence, confusion, and hunger. If you're a SNAP recipient, you are now living in a benefits lottery. What you get depends on where you live, how fast your state's processors acted, and what side of a court decision they fell on. There is no uniform system. There is no clear plan. And the ones paying for that chaos are the ones who can afford it least. This is not how a federal aid program should function. This is not how millions of vulnerable people should be treated. And yet here we are. If you've received your full benefits already, do not assume they're safe. If your state overdraft, there's a real possibility that future payments may be reduced or delayed to cover the gap. Keep your receipts. Track your balances. Document your transactions. If you didn't receive your benefits or only got part of them, start contacting your local agencies. They may not have answers yet, but creating a record matters. File complaints. Leave a paper trail. The more documentation you have, the harder it will be for anyone to deny or delay back pay later, if it's authorized. This also isn't just about individuals, it's about communities. Local food banks are already seeing surges. Shelters and churches are being overwhelmed with requests for meals, grocery bags, and emergency resources. And they're bracing for more. Because once word spreads that the benefits haven't arrived in full, desperation kicks in. And it hits hard. These organizations are doing everything they can, but they weren't built to replace a $4 billion federal program. They're lifelines, yes, but they're drowning too. And then there's the question that no one can yet answer. How long is this going to last? Could another court step in and reverse the Supreme Court's order? Maybe. Could Congress pass emergency legislation to override the funding block? It's possible. Could the USDA find a workaround or partial disbursement solution? They're likely trying. But these are all hypotheticals. What's real is this. The people don't have time to wait. You can't delay rent. You can't postpone groceries. You can't freeze your hunger while politicians debate legal timelines. This is why recipients are being told to do something they should never have to. Prepare for the worst. Check your balances every day. Save every receipt. Look up your state's SNAP customer service line. Stay connected to local aid groups. If you're a parent, talk to your child's school about meal programs. If you're elderly or disabled, find out if your area offers food delivery for SNAP households. Be proactive. Not because you failed but because the system did. And to those watching who aren't directly affected, this still matters. Because this is what happens when critical support systems are treated as legal chess pieces instead of human necessities. This is what happens when policy and poverty collide, and the courts become the battleground. There will be consequences to this. Maybe financial, maybe political, but the real cost is human. Missed meals, stress, disrupted families, parents skipping dinner so their kids can eat, seniors forced to choose between food and medication, disabled individuals left without transportation or delivery services because their SNAP deposits never arrived. This is not okay. And it cannot be normalized. SNAP is supposed to be the stable fallback when everything else fails. But now it's failing too. And until there's clarity, everyone caught in the middle is forced to improvise. So keep checking. Keep documenting. Keep contacting your local offices, even if it feels pointless right now. Every phone call, every message, every record matters. When the dust settles, those who fought to stay informed will be better positioned to claim what's owed. We will keep following this. We will continue breaking down every update. Because in moments like this, silence only protects the powerful. Information is what protects the rest of us. Monitor your balance. Document everything. Contact your state SNAP office. Use community resources. And demand accountability. The worst part of this entire crisis isn't just the lack of benefits, it's the lack of answers. That's what's driving people to panic, to flood food banks, to desperately reload EBT cards hoping something changed overnight. Not knowing when or if your benefits are coming is its own kind of psychological warfare. You're checking your account 5, 10, 15 times a day. You're rationing food, skipping meals, telling your kids, not tonight. All while waiting for anyone to explain what the hell is going on. But no one does. Not clearly. Not quickly. Not in a way that meets the urgency of this moment. And that silence is deafening. Dangerous. The Supreme Court ruling didn't come with an emergency plan. It didn't come with instructions for recipients. It didn't come with a timeline for when payments might resume. It came down like a hammer. Blunt, immediate, and utterly disconnected from the reality that people are living in. There's a reason this is causing chaos in state agencies. Because states didn't get clarity either. They're trying to figure it out as they go. Some had already processed benefits based on the previous court order. Others stopped midstream. Others are still debating how much liability they're taking on if they pay now and aren't reimbursed later. That's why this has turned into a patchwork disaster. A crisis with 50 different responses and no national coordination. It's the worst-case scenario for a program that was built to be consistent, predictable, and fast. Right now, SNAP recipients are being told to act like accountants, lawyers, and food aid organizers, because the institutions responsible for supporting them have collapsed under legal confusion. This is where you come in. If you're a recipient, your best weapon right now is documentation. Every time you check your EBT balance, take a screenshot. Every letter you get in the mail, save it. Every call you make to your local agency, write down the date, time, and who you spoke with. This isn't just busy work. This is how you protect yourself if there are errors, if your benefits don't show up later, or if you have to dispute anything in the future. And don't be afraid to escalate. If you're getting no response from your local office, call your state representative. Call your governor's office. Make noise. It shouldn't be on you, but right now, no one else is doing it for you. Meanwhile, lean into the support networks around you. Food pantries, school meal pickups, churches, community fridges. These are more than just stopgaps. They are survival systems when federal support fails. There's no shame in asking for help. The shame belongs to the systems that forced you into that position to begin with. If you're a parent, talk to your child's school. Many districts are offering extra meal assistance due to the ongoing SNAP confusion. If you're a senior, reach out to your area agency on aging. Many offer meal delivery programs that are designed specifically for moments like this. If you're disabled, contact disability advocacy groups in your area. They often know which local organizations can help bridge the gap with food or transportation. And no matter what, don't stop checking your balance. Even if it feels useless. Even if it hasn't changed in days. You need to stay on top of it. Because if benefits do start rolling out again, you need to be one of the first to know. You don't want to miss your window. You don't want to get caught off guard by changes in disbursement amounts or dates. Also, talk to others in your community. Start group chats. Share updates. If someone in your area gets their benefits, you'll all want to know. If someone finds out about a new food bank distribution, share it. This is how people survive institutional failure, by building informal networks that move faster than government bureaucracy. We are seeing the cracks in the system exposed like never before. A single Supreme Court decision, made without any infrastructure to support it, has jeopardized the nutritional safety of millions. It's not just Wisconsin. It's not just the states that issued full benefits and are now overdraft. This is a nationwide reckoning. And let's not forget the broader consequences. States that have overdraft now face budget gaps. And the truth is, they may cut somewhere else to fill them. Will it be future SNAP payments? State-funded food programs? Education? Housing assistance? Once the money's gone, it has to come from somewhere. And history tells us where that burden usually falls. On the backs of the people who were already struggling the most. This isn't just a SNAP issue anymore. It's a test of how this country responds to its most vulnerable. Do we leave them behind the second a legal hurdle appears? Do we stop the flow of basic nutrition because the paperwork got complicated? Or do we finally demand a system that works, consistently, fairly, and urgently, when people need it the most? Right now, all eyes should be on what comes next. Will there be emergency legislation? A new court challenge? Will the USDA be allowed to proceed with disbursements under another legal framework? We don't know yet. What we do know is that this is not over. And it will not resolve itself. That's why you have to stay informed. Keep watching. Keep pressing your local leaders. Keep sharing updates with others. The more informed you are, the harder it becomes for anyone, court, agency, or official, to ignore the human cost of this disaster. If this gave you the information you needed, hit like so others can see it. Share it with someone who's still in the dark about what's happening. Comment if you've been affected. Tell us where you are, what your state is doing, what you're seeing. Your experience could help someone else. And subscribe so you don't miss the next update, because the situation is still shifting, and we'll be here to break it all down as it happens. Check your balance. Save your records. Use every resource available. And don't stop asking the one question that matters most. Where is the help?